To our worldwide audience tuning in from every corner of the globe, welcome to an extended, immersive edition of our tennis coverage. Today is not just another day on the calendar. We are standing at the edge of something meaningful. There is a tangible hum in the atmosphere, a sense that something important is about to unfold. Melbourne Park is alive, vibrating with the unmistakable energy that only the opening Grand Slam of the season can deliver. This is where narratives are born, where careers pivot, and where dreams either ignite or dissolve. We are only hours away from a confrontation that carries the weight of an entire nation on one side of the net and the urgency of personal redemption on the other. This is far more than a first-round match. This is a meeting point of diverging paths. It is momentum colliding with volatility. It is belief running headlong into brute force. This is the Australian Open 2026 opening round, and it offers us one of the most compelling matchups of the day. On one half of the court stands a trailblazer, a record shatterer, a young athlete who has fundamentally altered the landscape of Southeast Asian tennis. She represents the Philippines with pride, a tireless left-hander whose relentless rise into the WTA Top 50 stunned even the most seasoned observers. After years of knocking on the door, Alex Eala finally steps into the Australian Open main draw, making her long-awaited debut under the Melbourne sun. Across the net waits a mystery wrapped in raw power. An American with a serve that ranks among the most intimidating weapons in the modern women's game. A former top 40 competitor, a WTA champion, a player who has toppled elite opponents like Caroline Garcia on hostile ground. Alycia Parks arrives not as a seeded favorite, but as a dangerous floater, intent on crashing the celebration and reminding the tennis world of her explosive ceiling. This is a duel of contrasts. Precision and persistence versus all-out aggression. Calculated construction against fearless shot-making. Heavy left-handed spin meeting a flat, thunderous serve. It is a contest of nerve, of adaptability, of identity, and ultimately of respect on one of the sport's grandest stages. For 3 consecutive seasons, Alex Eala chased this moment. 3 years of grueling qualifying campaigns. 3 years of near misses, of heartbreak, of being close enough to touch the dream but never quite grasp it. That chapter is closed. The player arriving in Melbourne now is not the hopeful teenager of 2023 or the nearly there prospect of 2024. This is Alex Eala, world number 49, a competitor who stood firm against IGA Swiatek in Miami, a player who shattered her personal Grand Slam barrier at the U.S. Open. She is no longer grateful just to be present. She arrives expecting results. Yet riding off Alycia Parks would be a grave mistake. Her ranking of 100 does not reflect her true danger. When her timing aligns, she becomes nearly impossible to contain. The ball explodes off her strings with a pace that overwhelms even elite defenders. She has tasted deep tournament runs. She knows the feeling of lifting trophies. She understands that one inspired week, one match played freely, can reverse the trajectory of an entire career. She does not see Eala as a rising star. She sees a hurdle to be removed. The stakes are immense. A victory for Eala would further cement her legitimacy on the main tour and open the door to a potentially seismic second-round encounter. It would validate years of sacrifice at the Rafa Nadal Academy. It would echo across Manila and beyond, reaching millions of Filipino fans watching through the early hours of the morning, confirming that their champion truly belongs. For Parks, a win represents renewal, a declaration that her power still commands respect, that she remains a threat within the elite ecosystem of the tour. Over the next hour, we will dissect every layer of this matchup. Serve metrics, return efficiency, court speed, tactical patterns, psychological warfare. We will examine how Eala's recent semifinal run in Auckland has sharpened her competitive edge. We will consider how Parks' struggles in Hobart might free her from pressure and allow her to swing without restraint. We will step inside the mindset of a 20-year-old making her long-awaited debut and a 25-year-old fighting to halt a ranking slide. We will factor in Melbourne's weather, the heat, the wind, and how those conditions tilt the balance. We will explore coaching decisions. What guidance is Joan Bosch offering Eala at this very moment? How was the Parks camp scheming to blunt that left-handed forehand? This is not a surface-level preview. This is a comprehensive breakdown of Alex Eala versus Alycia Parks. The storylines are set. The athletes are prepared. The Philippines is watching. The United States is watching. The tennis world is watching. Settle in, because we are diving straight into the heart of it. This is the Australian Open. This is prime time. It begins now. Consider the winding road that has led us to this particular Sunday in Melbourne. Neither journey followed a straight path. For Alex Eala, the climb was deliberate and relentless. Many doubted whether a player of her stature, emerging from a nation with limited tennis infrastructure, could scale the highest levels of the sport. She dominated the junior circuit, capturing 2 junior Grand Slam doubles titles and a U.S. Open junior singles crown. But history tells us that junior success guarantees nothing. The professional transition is unforgiving, littered with stalled careers. Eala did not stall. She surged forward. The 2025 season marked a transformation. That was the year she stopped being labeled a former junior star and started being treated as a genuine contender. She cracked the top 100 in March. She defeated Madison Keys. She took down Yelena Ostapenko. She pushed Jessica Pegula to the brink. These were not isolated flashes. They were confirmations. The breakthrough came at the U.S. Open, where her main draw victory finally released years of pent-up potential. Now she walks on Melbourne's blue hard courts as a direct entrant, not a hopeful qualifier. The number beside her name, 49, carries significance. It commands respect. It brings confidence. But tennis offers no guarantees. It demands execution today, right now. And standing across from her is a player capable of ending points before they begin. Alycia Parks is the wild card. Watching her live is a visceral experience. The sound of her strike is sharp and explosive. At 6'1", she towers over Eala. Her serve is legendary. She once matched Venus Williams' record with a 129-mile-per-hour missile at the U.S. Open. That is not just speed. That is intimidation. Parks enters this contest with urgency. After peaking at world number 40 in 2023, inconsistency and technical lapses have dragged her down the rankings. She now stands at the edge, knowing that one good run could revive her season, while one poor loss could deepen the slide. A corner power hitter is one of the most dangerous forces in tennis. Stylistically, this matchup is tennis distilled to its essence. Parks is the brute force, charging headlong, overwhelming with pace. Eala is the tactician, redirecting energy, exploiting space, crafting points with intelligence. The left-handed element adds complexity. Eala's serve wide in the ad court can pull Parks off the court, exposing acres of space. But Parks' sheer shot weight poses its own questions. Can Eala absorb and redirect that power consistently? Preparation matters. Eala has spent weeks in the region, sharpening her game in Auckland with a semi-final run that showcased her form and fitness. Parks' recent matches have been limited, raising questions about rhythm versus freshness. Melbourne's courts tend to play quick, favoring servers, but extended rallies in the heat reward endurance and discipline. The conditions may pull this match in opposite directions simultaneously. And then there is the mental side. Eala is young, but not untested. She has thrived under pressure at the SEA Games and in Billie Jean King Cup ties. Still, a Grand Slam main draw carries its own gravity. Parks, meanwhile, knows these courts well, but also carries the burden of expectation. Opportunity versus obligation. That dynamic often decides matches before the first ball is struck. As we move deeper into the analysis, we will examine the technical nuances, the statistical profiles, and the broader cultural impact of this contest. This is a meeting of two players at pivotal crossroads under the unforgiving Melbourne sun. Alex Eala versus Alycia Parks is more than a first-round encounter. It is a snapshot of careers in motion, and it is coming up next. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, We are in the midst of a deep examination of the Australian Open opening round clash between the Philippines' Alex Eala and America's Alycia Parks. We have framed the moment. Now let us break down the mechanics that will define it. To appreciate the magnitude of this match, we must first understand the scale of Eala's evolution over the past year. 12 months ago, she was hovering outside the top 100, stuck in the sport's most unforgiving limbo. Her qualifying loss in Melbourne the previous year stung, but what followed was a masterclass in response. Miami 2025 changed everything. As a wild card, she did not merely compete. She imposed herself. Victories over Ostapenko and Keys announced her arrival, not just through results, but through authority. She was dictating play, stepping inside the baseline, serving with intent. The season was not flawless. Early exits at Roland Garros and Wimbledon offered lessons. By the time the U.S. Open arrived, she was ready. That first main draw win lifted a psychological barrier. Auckland at the start of 2026 was a calculated choice, and her semifinal run there confirmed that her level had stabilized. Technically, she has grown stronger, quicker, and more assertive. Her serve placement, her net instincts, and her ability to turn defense into attack have all sharpened. Parks, by contrast, embodies unpredictability. At her peak, she looks capable of dismantling anyone. Her serve alone alters the psychology of matches, but her high-risk style courts volatility. Flat hitters live on a razor's edge. When confidence wavers, errors multiply. Her recent form suggests vulnerability, yet fast courts can resurrect her game in an instant. This contest will hinge on the opening shots of each rally. Parks will hunt free points. Eala must neutralize the serve, extend exchanges, and impose variety. The left-handed serve wide, the shifting of height and spin, the use of angles and drop shots, all are tools Eala can deploy to disrupt Parks' rhythm. Parks, in turn, will aim to pin Eala to her backhand corner and shorten points relentlessly. Movement favors Eala. Raw firepower favors Parks. Mentally, composure leans toward Eala. Urgency weighs heavier on Parks. Add in the Filipino context, and the symbolism grows. Eala is not just playing for herself. She represents a nation experiencing a renaissance in global sport. Her presence on this stage matters. External variables remain. Wind could neutralize power. Confidence carries momentum. The draw ahead offers opportunity. Nothing is predetermined. If Parks serves at her peak, she can blow this match open. But tennis rarely unfolds at peak levels throughout. Over the course of a match, consistency often prevails. Eala's floor is high. Parks' ceiling is higher. The question is which version shows up. My prediction favors form, adaptability, and resilience. I believe Alex Eala will find a way through, possibly in 3 sets, weathering early pressure and gradually asserting control as rallies lengthen. It would be a landmark victory, a confirmation that her place among the elite is not temporary. For Parks, this match represents either a setback or a spark. That is the unforgiving beauty of Grand Slam tennis. One afternoon can redefine everything. The cameras tighten their focus as the final practice serves echo across the stadium. The bounce of the ball becomes louder, sharper, almost symbolic. This is the point where preparation ends and truth takes over. There are no more hypotheticals now, no more projections. What remains is execution under pressure. As the coin toss concludes and the players move toward their respective baselines, body language tells its own story. Alex Eala looks composed, eyes steady, breathing controlled. There is a quiet confidence in the way she adjusts her strings and scans the court. She has visualized this moment countless times. Alycia Parks, meanwhile, moves with intensity, shoulders loose, racket head whipping through the air during shadow swings. She looks primed to strike early, to impose herself immediately. The opening games will be critical. Parks knows this. She wants to send a message fast. Big first serves, short points, no rhythm allowed. She will aim to dictate from the very first ball, testing whether Eala can absorb the pace without blinking. Eala, on the other hand, understands a long game. Her goal in these early exchanges is survival with intent. Get returns back. Find depth. Make Parks hit one more shot than she wants to. Watch the return position closely. If Eala stands a step farther back, it signals respect for the serve and a willingness to extend rallies. If she steps inside the baseline, it is a statement of defiance. Either choice carries risk, but Eala has shown a remarkable ability to adjust in real time. That adaptability may be her greatest weapon today. As rallies begin to form, expect Eala to probe immediately. High, heavy topspin to push Parks back. Low slices to force her forward. Angles that stretch her movement laterally. Parks thrives when the court feels small and linear. Eala will try to expand it, to turn each point into a puzzle rather than a punch. The crowd will play its role as well. Melbourne audiences are knowledgeable, responsive. They appreciate variety, grit, and courage. Every extended rally that Eala wins will pull them further into her corner. Every ace from Parks will draw gasps. Momentum here is not just about points, it is about emotional gravity. If Parks starts strong, firing aces and winners, the challenge for Eala will be patience. She cannot chase perfection. She must trust her patterns and wait for openings. Parks' game invites overreaction. The temptation is to press, to try to do too much. Eala's maturity will be tested in those moments when nothing seems to work. Conversely, if Eala secures an early break, the psychological pressure shifts dramatically. Parks has, at times, struggled when forced to play from behind. Frustration can creep in. Shot selection can become rushed. That is where Eala's calm demeanor and consistency could begin to wear down the Americans' resolve. Fitness may become a factor as the match stretches. Long rallies in the Melbourne heat sap energy quickly. Eala's conditioning is elite, the product of years of disciplined training. Parks is powerful, but extended physical battles are not always her preferred territory. If this turns into a war of attrition, the balance tilts again. Beyond this match, the implications ripple outward. A win for Eala does more than advance her in the draw. It reinforces her identity as a player who belongs on the biggest stages, not as a novelty, but as a threat. It strengthens her mental armor. It deepens belief, not just within herself, but within an entire fan base that sees its aspirations reflected in her success. For Parks, victory would be equally transformative. It would silence doubts. It would restore confidence. It would remind her that her power, when harnessed, can still overwhelm anyone across the net. This is why this matchup matters. Both players are fighting for more than a single win. They are fighting for direction. As the umpire calls time and the first server steps forward, everything narrows to the ball, the toss, the swing. The analysis fades into the background. This is where tennis strips away reputation and leaves only performance. Whatever unfolds over the next 2 hours, one thing is certain. This is not a routine first-round match. This is a test of belief versus force, patience versus impatience, evolution versus eruption. The Australian Open has a way of revealing who is ready for the next chapter. The ball is in play. History is no longer a concept. It is happening now. To fans in the Philippines, prepare yourselves. To neutral observers, do not look away. This is tennis in its purest contrast. We'll be here every step of the way. The players are warming up. The umpire is ready. The crowd is settling. The Australian Open is underway, and Alex Eala versus Alycia Parks takes center stage. Thank you for joining this deep dive. Now, the analysis gives way to reality. Let the match begin.